A moment comes for us all, a final breath is drawn, and the great silence follows. In my tradition, a story was told of a wise one whose awareness was so quiet it could follow the stream of a soul as it left the riverbed of the body. He was present for that first moment when the journey shifts from the seen to the unseen. What this lineage witnessed, what was passed down, does not speak of an end. It speaks of a profound beginning. Before we walk this path of understanding together, I invite you to quiet your mind. Listen not just with your ears, but with the stillness inside you. The journey of your own soul is a story you will not want to miss. Have you ever sat by a still lake and wondered what lies beneath the surface? What truly happens in that sacred moment the heart ceases its rhythm? A wisdom passed down through my lineage offers the clearest map of this crossing ever charted. And its truth will not shake you, but steady you. In the moments that follow, we will explore three great truths from these ancient teachings. First, the moment of profound recognition the soul awakens to. Second, the fundamental choice that shapes your entire journey beyond. And third, the unbreakable connection to your life now, a thread most never see. This wisdom is not theory. It comes from direct seeing, from tracing the path of souls as they cross the threshold, one after another. A sacred teaching holds one of the most lucid accounts of a soul's first steps into the great mystery. The ancient teachings tell us this: the very first thing that happens is not a fading, but a flowering. The moment your soul untethers from the body is a moment of awakening. An elder in my tradition described it this way: imagine living your entire life in a deep, dark cavern. Then, in an instant, you are standing on a mountaintop, and for the first time, you see the sun. But there is something deeper within this initial unveiling. The teaching reveals that your soul is not set adrift in a formless void. No, something else happens, a truth rarely spoken of. In that first precious breath of awareness, my tradition says the soul experiences the review of the silver stream. This is not a story for comfort. It is an observation of a spiritual mechanic witnessed time and again. The soul relives its entire passage on earth in a flash, but not in the way you might imagine. And here, the mind must become very still to understand. The teachings reveal that during this rapid return to the source, you do not simply watch the film of your life. You become the river of your life, and you feel every single current. You experience what you did, but from the vantage point of every other soul you touched. Every word of kindness you offered, you now receive as warmth. Every sharp word spoken, you now feel its edge. Every moment of love you generated, you now inhabit as boundless space. Your soul experiences the echo of its own song from every valley it reverberated in. A story from the archives of my order speaks of a man of commerce. After his crossing, which was brief before he returned, a master gave a reading of his journey. The reading revealed that his soul's first moments were spent living his life through the hearts of his workers, his family, even the strangers he passed on the street. Later, the man confirmed truths that only one who had walked in those other shoes could ever know. This opens a gateway to a fundamental question, one which shapes the entire landscape of what comes next. What happens after this profound experience depends entirely on a quality most do not cultivate in their lifetime. My tradition teaches that after seeing with 1,000 eyes, the soul arrives at what is known as the Great Crossroads. This is not a place of judgment from an external sky god. It is a moment of the soul's own profound self-knowing, its own deep understanding of the path it has walked, and the lessons it still yearns to learn. What the wisdom keepers documented next is where freedom is truly found. Your soul, now completely aware of its own patterns, its own readiness, chooses its next garden. And here is the turn that most miss. Some souls, the teachings say, choose to remain as gentle rain for the soil they just left, nourishing the loved ones who remain. Others flow directly into the great ocean, to higher streams of consciousness. In one account, a mother who had crossed over chose to remain in what my lineage calls the garden of earthly echoes. She stayed to be the quiet strength for her children, Her first moments of awakening were not only her own review, but an immediate knowing of her family's path ahead, and she chose to pause her own journey to be their unseen guardian. This transforms everything. It turns death from a wall into a gate, but there is a current that runs even deeper. The teachings reveal that the very quality of your soul's first moments is carved, day by day, by how you tend your inner world during your physical life. My tradition has always taught that souls who cultivated awareness through stillness, through prayer, through service to others, experienced the seamless crossing, while souls who lived only for the vessel, for the material world, faced a river of confusion. One teaching describes the journey of a soul who practiced daily stillness while on earth. The account said this soul's transition was like a hawk lifting from a familiar branch to glide into a boundless sky. The soul knew where it was. It moved with certainty and peace. This is where the ancient wisdom becomes a tool in your hands, right now. The teachings state plainly that we prepare our soul for this crossing while we are still breathing. The inner garden you tend today determines the harvest you will reap in those first sacred moments. It was revealed that souls who regularly connected to the great source through quiet contemplation found immediate recognition and peace. Those who gave of themselves without asking for return found themselves carried by helping hands across the threshold. But those who lived in the narrow confines of fear or attachment faced what the elders called a time of waking in a fog. One story from many seasons ago tells of a resident of our shores who studied these ways and prepared their inner ground for years. When this person crossed, the elders were asked to witness the soul's journey. The account revealed the crossing was so clear, so conscious, that the soul was able to immediately send waves of reassurance back to its grieving family. Now, listen closely to what this means for your soul's potential in that moment. The elders discovered that a soul which has just crossed carries with it all its memories and the unique color of its character, but they are now illuminated by a vast, mountain-top awareness that sees the purpose behind every winding path it walked. This begs a question that can change the way you see this very day. If your soul carries forward the tapestry of all you are, and if its first moments shape its ongoing journey, how are you weaving that tapestry right now? The lineage taught that the souls with the most beautiful crossings were those who had learned to hold the world with an open hand, to love its beauty, to feel its sorrows, but to understand it all as a flowing river, not a final destination. They cultivated what we call spiritual lightness. Not that they cared less for life, but that they saw through to life's eternal nature. This is where these teachings become the very soil of your daily practice. The lineage taught that every choice, every thought, every quiet act of presence is a stone you are laying on the path that will one day carry you home. There is a powerful story in our archives of a man of science, a skeptic who saw only the world of form. After a brief crossing, a near-death journey, he sought the wisdom of my tradition. What the reading revealed of his momentary journey mirrored his own secret experience, detail for detail. The teaching showed his soul's first moments were an explosion of light, where all his scientific knowing suddenly found its place inside a much greater heart. His years of healing others, the master said, had created a pathway of light that illuminated his soul's way. But there is a truth about your consciousness in those moments that is more magnificent still. The lineage reveals your soul does not dissolve into the whole. Your uniqueness, your flavor is not lost. Instead, it gains a cosmic intimacy, a closeness with all things, while retaining everything that makes you, you. A sacred text describes how one soul retained its specific sense of humor, its deep love for its family, and its earthly passions, but now saw how these were perfect brushstrokes in the masterpiece of its eternal growth. You do not become someone else after death. You become more truly yourself than was ever possible in the density of the physical body. This is a profound truth for your life right now. If your essence continues, then every facet of who you are becoming is of eternal importance. your compassion, your wisdom, your capacity to love, these do not end. They are the very wings that will carry you. The teachings consistently showed that souls who lived from the heart experienced their first moments as a joyful homecoming. They recognized the great expanse as their origin and understood their earthly sojourn as a precious school, preparing them for a greater service. What makes these teachings a living truth is this: many who received this wisdom about their soul's path later reported that their journey unfolded exactly as the teaching described. The foundation that holds this knowledge has chronicled hundreds of such accounts where the spiritual map proved true. One story that moves the heart is of a young mother facing a great illness. A reading assured her that her crossing would be a gentle one, because the selfless love for her children and her inner practices had already smoothed the way. When she passed months later, her family said her final moments were filled with a visible joy and recognition, just as the teaching had foretold. Now, we come to the most incredible part of this wisdom. Your soul's journey is not a solitary one. According to the ancient teachings, souls who cross in full awareness immediately join what we call the Great Weaving, a compassionate work of helping other souls, both on the earth plane and in the subtle realms. This means that the inner work you do in this lifetime is not just for you. It is your preparation to serve in ways you cannot yet fathom. The love you cultivate, the wisdom you uncover, the stillness you find, all of this becomes the tools your soul will use to help others on their eternal journey. The elders taught that souls who lived in service often chose to become river guides for those still navigating the currents of physical life. That grandmother who always had the perfect word of comfort. That friend who appeared at the exact moment of need. Perhaps these are souls who chose to use their freedom to continue their work of love. This presents a profound mirror for your own life. If awareness continues, and if souls can choose to assist us, how might you imagine the subtle guidance, the synchronicities you feel today? The text explains how souls who have crossed peacefully often work to create openings of grace for their loved ones on earth. They cannot push you through the door. Your will is sacred, but they can ensure the door is there for you to find. There is an account of a man whose departed father had received these teachings. After his father's passing, the son found his life being guided by a series of chance events that led him to a spiritual path that changed everything for him. When he sought counsel, a reading revealed his father's soul was gently arranging the stones on his path, creating opportunities for his own awakening. This is what it means for you in this very moment. You are breathing in an ocean of loving support. You are held by souls who have made this crossing consciously. Those moments of sudden inspiration, that inexplicable knowing, those timings so perfect they make you gasp. These may be the quiet work of souls who experience their first moments after death as an awakening to their power to serve from a place of light. But the most transformative part of this wisdom is not what it says about death, but what it reveals about life. If those first 60 seconds are shaped by your spiritual heart while you are here, then every day is a sacred opportunity to build a crossing of beauty and light. The masters consistently taught that souls with the most graceful transitions were those who learned to live with an attitude of spiritual homecoming. They walked through each day knowing they were eternal travelers in a temporary land, and this filled their lives with unshakable purpose. The teachings describe a soul who lived this way. Their first moments after death were like a gentle waking from a dream into a reality more real, more vibrant. There was no confusion, only a deep gratitude for the dream of life and the boundless awareness that lay beyond. This is the gift this wisdom offers you now. You do not need to wait for your final breath to touch this expanded awareness. The very practices that prepare the soul for a conscious crossing are the same practices that fill your present life with clarity and joy. The teachings say that souls who found stillness in life had carved channels of light that would guide their journey. Prayer had woven a rope to the divine. Service to others had built a spiritual strength that would carry them through any turbulence. And here is the most wondrous discovery from all these thousands of teachings. Those first 60 seconds after death are not an ending. They are a graduation, a ceremony where your soul honors all it has learned and looks forward to a greater field of learning and service. One final story from our archives illuminates this perfectly. A man who had walked this path of knowing for years was nearing his time of crossing. His family asked the masters what they should expect. The reading revealed that this soul's transition would be like a student who had finished their studies with honors, eager and ready for a more advanced school. When the man passed peacefully weeks later, his final words were said to be of the beautiful light he was seeing and the wonderful teachers who were waiting to greet him. His crossing mirrored the teaching of a soul who walks toward death with a prepared heart and an open awareness. This leads us to the most vital question of all. Now that this ancient map has been shared with you, now that you know what the wisdom keepers revealed about those crucial first moments, how will you use this knowledge to live? Remember, every act of compassion, every quiet moment of gratitude, every gesture of service, every step you take towards knowing your true nature is preparing your soul for the most important crossing you will ever make. You are not just living for today. You are building the foundation of your eternal journey. If this teaching has opened a window in your heart, I invite you to share it, that its light may touch others. Let its message reach more who are seeking truth. And I invite you to subscribe and remain on this path with us, for there is so much more to discover about the journey of the soul. Your greatest adventure is not behind you. It is yet to unfold. And now, you know how to prepare. The first 60 seconds could be the most beautiful moment of your eternal becoming. And it all begins with the choice you make right now.